guys, Anthony here, Bibles and Barbells. It is Sunday, May 3rd, 2020. Today's video, I want to discuss briefly some important preps that you should be putting together. Either you should be in the process of doing it, you should have most of these already on the shelf, and you should be in the process of gathering or figuring out how to accumulate and store more of these preps. We're just going to go over a few today, but for those of you that have been following my channel for any length of time, you know that over the years I've put together preps for certain emergencies or situations. What we're experiencing now is the most critical that I have ever encountered, and probably most of you have ever encountered, as our country is at a point where it's being purposely torn apart from the seams. There are factions in the country that are totally 100% against America and for what America stands for, and these can be topics of other videos, but I think it's pretty clear and evident who these enemies are. And many of them are have places within the power structure of our government, big corporations, businesses, etc. So do your research, keep your eyes open. Don't depend on the nightly news. You know, like I said in other videos, don't depend on the CNNs, the Foxes, the MSNBCs, the National Public Radio, yada yada. All that stuff is basically going to keep you your head spinning and keep you in the dark at the same time. So what you should be doing is looking at what's going on around you and how businesses are still closed, the economic situation, 30 million plus that we know of that are on the record, probably 50 million closer number unemployed. Businesses closed, bankruptcies, schools still out, politicians and medical experts telling us that we need to social distance, and they're conditioning us, if you will, for this, because the ultimate goal, of course, is to track us all, to know where we're going, where we've been, and to track that and to monitor that. That's the goal of the big world order that is pending or trying to make itself very known. In America, we're going to see, I believe, and if you watch any other good channels on YouTube, you'll see that many others are in agreement with me. We're going to see lots of civil strife, civil unrest. And so we may have a short time period now with the summer coming on to have a lull, if you will, before the fall comes around and we get the heat turned up again with the elections. I don't think I have to go into great detail on what's going to transpire when the elections get closer, because it's going to be very, very bad. The powers that be that do not want the current administration in power are going to work as hard as they can to diminish that power, as you see they're doing now with this situation that we're in. Okay, so getting back to the preps. First and foremost, obviously you're sheltered. I'm in my home. I'm at my home base. And so that's paramount, to be in a place of relative safety, whether it's your home, a family member's home, a mother or father's home, etc. So shelter, of course. But most important prep to be thinking about, and that I think many people take for granted, because you could turn the tap on and voila, you have fresh, clean water for the most part in most of the country here, still as of today. However, in some cities, like up in Flint, Michigan, where the pipes are corroded and spewing poison in the water, and that may be going on in other cities as well. But we won't address that right now. So many of us can turn on the tap and we have water. So what should you be doing now that you have that ability to turn on the tap? Well, you don't have to run out and buy cases of bottled water, although several cases is a good idea to have. They're not only good to have as backup, they're good to have a container to take with you and refill if you need to. But you can be filling jugs that you buy in the store, 5-gallon jugs, 3-gallon jugs, picnic jugs. There's military jugs, there's more advanced things. There's your 5-gallon and 3-gallon water, the ones that sit on top of the water cooler. And I have several of those that if you look in my past videos, you could see how you can store water. Another good way that a lot of people, I was just having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I said, well, what do? Do you guys, when you go to the store, do you buy orange juice and Gatorade and, grape juice, etc. in the plastic bottles, up to, a gallon size? Oh, yeah, we do. I said, well, what do you guys do with the bottle? Oh, we throw it out or we recycle it or whatever. Well, rinse it out like I do. Rinse the bottle out a few times, shake it up, fill it with water, put a piece of masking tape on top, put a little piece of masking tape on top of the cap, write the date, the month and the year you stored it, and rotate it every year. It'll last more than a year, in fact, because most of our water that comes out of the tap is treated. It has chlorine in it. It'll last a very long time in a bottle or a jug, etc. That's what you should be using to store water right from the tap. So think about if something happened, if there was something happened next week where the system went down, your water supply was contaminated, something happened at the water plant, all the workers turned up sick with the bug that's going around, and they issued a boil alert for your water. What would you do? Would you have enough to fall back on to last you a week, a month, etc.? And not only for drinking, but for washing, brushing your teeth, cleaning a wound, etc. Think about that and how you're going to do that, and how you can store water in bulk. Get creative. I have bottles upstairs in my closet. The bottles that I fill up in the store, I put them all over there's bottles of water all over the place in my house. Okay? There's no excuse not to have fresh, clean drinking water for an emergency. Okay? That's not even counting the ability to purify and collect, and we won't even get into that. I'm talking about right now what you have at your disposal for relatively no cost is water right from the tap. So make plans to store it immediately, because you're going to need it very shortly in the future. Number 2, rice. Actually, number 2 and 3, rice and beans. Let's put those together. They go together well. Very good food staples, lots of nutrition, calories, carbohydrate, protein between the rice and the beans. If you're not a big meat eater, you could get by with rice and beans. Okay? So, you could go to the store right now. Many of the big box stores, your grocery stores still have rice on the shelf. They might not have the big bags. They might be out of those, but you could certainly get 3, 5-pound, 10-pound bags. Same thing with beans. What I would do is get the dry style to store in bulk, and I would also get the style, if you can, that's in bags ready to eat, like the rice is, where you don't even really have to heat it up. You could just eat it. And the beans that are in the can, like the Bush's baked beans, canned beans, pork and beans, whatever kind of beans that you like. Those cans you could just pop open. They're ready to eat, and you don't have to worry about soaking them in water, boiling them, wasting fuel. You have canned food to start, and then your dry goods to compound that and store. So water, rice, beans. Peanut butter is a big one. I know when we serve like at the homeless shelters and we collect food, or when our churches were doing that, and places of worship, and just other places like schools or whatever, they always collect and ask for peanut butter to bring, because it's high in protein, it's high in calories, and it's high in fat. You need a lot of fat when you're not eating properly. Everyone concentrates on protein and carbohydrates. You need fat. Fat has more calories per gram than protein and carbs. I believe fat's like 9 calories per gram, where protein and carbs are about 4 calories per kilogram. So peanut butter. 5, a sweetener like the best and the longest lasting shelf life, honey. No reason why you shouldn't have several large vats of honey right now. I went out the other day. I've got to beef up my honey supply, but I went out the other day. I was in BJ's. That's the store that I frequent, the big box store that's closest to me. And I bought a 25-pound bag of, Domino's sugar, which was readily available at the big box store. That may not always be the case. My wife's been doing a lot of baking lately now that she's home from treatments. And so I'm adding to my sugar stores. I have sugar stored ready to go, and I have sugar stored for long term in longer term, larger containers that I could go to and replenish my stock. So not only should you be thinking of your daily use stock of honey, sugar, etc., but how you could back it up and have stuff on the shelf. You want to be able to think. You want to think now, and I would say the best thing to do now if you're prepping these items is think 90 days. If I could gather enough for 90 days or 3 months, that seems to be something a lot of people can grasp, or even a month. Start with a month, work on 90 days, and then extend it out to 6 months to a year, because you'll find it, in little smaller amounts like that, it's easier to gather, and it doesn't get you overwhelmed. Okay, so honey, sugar, etc. Salt, number 6, huge item for stocking, for bartering. I put salt in different containers. I have it in large containers stored. I have it ready to go in the house. I have regular types of salt, kosher salt, rock salt, pink salt. Almost every time I go to the big box store, or even to, my wife yells at me all the time, I'll go to Publix or Harris Teeter and I'll buy salt. I'll just grab a couple of, those spinny things that, you put the salt on, it's in the rock form. I'll just buy it and I put it away, and I have it just like this. Almost every time I go to the store, I buy one of these little salt grinder. This happens to be pink salt, because I know it's a very important supplement to have, a very important piece of prepping to have, and that's why it's listed here as one of the most important. Things like vitamins, a lot of people don't think about that now. I get a lot of samples of vitamins. I could grab some and show you right now. I have got them stored. But I buy my vitamins I have a distributor local here that I get stuff from. I get stuff online, of course, from Amazon, etc. And then, not only just, things like creatine. These are things you might not be thinking of, but in like a grid down scenario, amino acids, a multi-amino acid formula like this one has got all the essential amino acids that you need, a little caffeine in it, to get you going. And if you mix a little creatine in it, you're going to have to drink water. Make sure you drink enough water with these, but they'll help you maintain your strength, your energy, etc. Even things like, people are not thinking about it, but buy protein powder in bulk. This will stay for a long time. You could buy several of them, and a scoop is 20 grams, 25 grams, whatever, depending on the brand, and you've got 25 grams of protein. When I went to BJ's the other day, I bought this Tang, and you could see that it's almost empty. What did I do? I vacuum sealed most of this in some smaller vacuum seal bags, and I kept the rest out, because in times of SHTF or grid down, having a good sweet drink like Tang, it's a little bit cheaper than Gatorade. It's got a good flavor, and if you vacuum seal it, there you go. You got a good shelf life, and it's got a lot of sugar in it. So think along those lines too with these preppings, with these things. What number 7 in vitamins is, a lot of different items can be considered when you're talking about vitamins. Okay. Next is a big one that I really wasn't too prepped on, and I'll admit it. I am getting up to speed now on it. It's seeds and the ability to grow and reproduce some things like staples like vegetables, lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, things in your general area where you live that can grow in the growing season. And so what we did, and I'll do a separate video, we just started a garden in our backyard, container garden, just this past weekend. So it's up and going. It's not producing anything yet. But if you saw recently, I think it was the whack job governor up in Michigan, Whitmer, she banned the sale of American flags. Of course, socialists don't like to see the American flag. But she banned the sale of seeds in places like Home Depot and Lowe's. Why she did that? It's pretty clear. If you guys that watch this channel and other prepping channels don't understand, if in order for a totalitarian government, in this case, Democrat, liberal, socialist, whatever you want to call them, and their Republican cohorts that kind of side with them, if you control the food supply, you control the people. It's just a tactic. It's just something that works. If people are starving and you have the food, they're going to gravitate and do most anything you want for that food. So that's one of the reasons why she banned seeds. She doesn't want these people, these entities that are against liberty and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, do not want us patriots or people that want to keep our natural God-given rights. They don't want us to be self-sufficient. They want us to be dependent and not independent. So I'll stop there on that one. So seeds and the ability to grow some of your own food, even if it's in a small area like I have here, you've got to do it now because things are getting worse and worse. Firestarter. I don't have to tell you that fire starting or being able to make a fire in any situation, whether it's to cook, to keep warm, whatever, you've got to have various means of making fire. And right now, Bic lighters are readily available. You could buy them in bulk. You could buy fire steels. You could buy fat rope. There's all kinds of things you could buy in order to make fire. And every time you go to the store, like I do, I buy matches. Those little wooden matches that are on the shelf. What are they, 69 cents? You get like 10 little boxes. Buy them, throw them in a Tupperware, and forget about them. Before you know it, you're going to have hundreds of boxes. One of the most important things in a grid down situation, the ability to make fire. So fire starter, ferro rods, magnesium, matches, lighters. Collect them and store them away like they're gold because they'll be good for trade as well. A good set of walkie-talkies. Now that my wife is back from treatment, she's still not feeling good. She still has days where she's really not good. And just when I go out about in the area, walking the dogs or doing a recon of my my local area here where I live, I'm out continually reconning the area because I know there's people planning to do bad things soon, and I'm going to stay a step ahead of them. So what I do is I turn on her two-way radio, I turn on mine. They're good for well over a quarter mile. She keeps it by the bedside or wherever she is in the house, and I just check in with her while I'm out there to make sure if something happens with her or if something happens with me, I could call her without having to use the cell phone. So radios, number 10. Oh, excuse me. Number 11 was walkie-talkies. Number 10 was radio. So a simple radio like this Retekis brand. I mean, it's smaller than a pack of cigarettes, guys. It's got weather, AM, FM, an antenna. It takes a couple of AAA batteries back here, and the darn thing works. Of course, it won't work now. But the thing works. AM, FM, and weather. $20 on Amazon. Okay? You could put it in your pant pocket. There it is. Retekis. Or something like it. Okay? $20. You can carry, I carry that wherever I go. In the car. Wherever I'm going, I could throw it in my bag. And I have a radio with me to hear some emergency reports. Flashlights and headlamps, stuff like that, I think are kind of a no-brainer. The more, the better. The last couple that we're going to talk about, weapons and ammo. This isn't going to be a video that we just focus on weapons and ammo, but think whatever system that you're putting into place, if you have a weapon, if you don't have one, I would seriously consider going out right now and exercising your right to purchase one, even if you have never fired or you're afraid to shoot, whatever. Get one, get some training, and get that put away. For those of us that have weapons, I would recommend, let's say your pistol, your rifle, a pistol, rifle, shotgun, a pistol, a battle rifle, a shotgun, and maybe a .22 rifle. Let's look at those four since they're pretty popular. Let's say if you have one of each. I would have for my pistol 1,000 rounds, for the rifle 1,000 rounds, for the shotgun minimum 250 to 1,000, and for the .22 5,000 rounds minimum for the .22 rifle. So think along those lines for the weapon systems, and then of course cleaning kits to go with it, holsters, a sling, a light to go on the battle rifle or the pistol. Have these things now because they may quickly disappear when things get bad in a few months. Okay? So weapons and ammo, extremely important. If you look at what the wannabe Hitler in Canada did recently, he banned 1,500 types of assault weapons, he says in a very smooth voice. I was listening to him. I wanted to jump through the TV when I heard this guy, Trudeau, on the TV the other day. Because he's so concerned about life and liberty and protecting people in his country. He wants to disarm the people of Canada completely, have them turn their arms in, and render them toothless against a tyrannical government. That's basically what he's doing. Don't think he cares about saving lives. These people that say they care about saving lives can give two shits about life. They kill the unborn every single day and they approve of it. So take what they say with a grain of salt and don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They're trying to brainwash you. 14, physical preparedness. I've stepped up my physical preparedness, although if you guessed from the name of my channel, Bibles and Barbells, I have been weight training and conditioning almost all my life. So at 57 years old now, I'm not in the greatest shape that I want to be in, but I'm in pretty darn good shape. Both running, lifting, fighting, etc. For my age group. I could definitely keep up with people half my age very easily. And not many 57-year-olds can say that. It's because I've taken it seriously all my life. I've competed. And I've used it to keep me healthy, as a way to keep me healthy, to lift and keep my muscles and everything working, eating fairly well, and it's paid off over the years. It pays dividends, good health and physical conditioning. So physical preparedness, it's never too late. You could do stuff. You could just go walking, then bump it up and run a little bit. Then start lifting some resistance work, push-ups, sit-ups. You don't even need a weight set. But get plenty of exercise. And number 15, a big one here, mental preparedness. Your mental attitude right now is critical, or our collective mental attitudes in this country are critical right now. The powers that be want us cowering in fear, afraid of our own shadow, afraid of getting a virus, afraid of getting a flu, afraid of going out and not being, or being somewhere where you're not supposed to be. So mental preparedness is going to be very important now and moving forward. How you mentally view this situation that we're going to, do not cower, do not be fearful, get with like-minded people and form like-minded opinions about what's going on. Exercise your rights, because our rights are disappearing very quickly if we let them. So as patriots, we need to be rising up right now. It's not a time to be silent. It's a time to let our collective voices be heard, or you will get rolled over like a steamroller. And of course, I'll add to this number 16, although there's not a 16 on my list here. And probably the most important is your spiritual condition. Look at that. It's not going to be a video where I talk about a Bible study, but you guys know from the name of my channel, Bibles and Barbells, it all goes together. Mind, body, spirit. And so you have to be thinking along those lines. There's lots going on that's been prophesied, that's been spoken about, and we are living it right now. So if you don't believe it, go back and peruse through Scripture. The 66 books of the Bible is what I'm talking about, not the Quran, not the writings of Confucius or Buddha or Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons, not the books of the Masons, not any of those books, not the latest and greatest get-rich books. All of those are sinking sand. The 66 books of the Bible are what you need to be sticking your nose in and reading and asking Yahweh to open your mind and show you, and I guarantee you He will. He did to me, and He's never failed me. Never, never once. When I sincerely knelt before Him and called out His name, He has answered me. And I could do many, many videos on testimony to that. So that's my video today of urgent preps that you need immediately. And if I missed anything, or you guys want to comment on some things or expand upon things, feel free in the comment section. Share, like the video, of course. We don't know how long we're going to be on this platform. I know for a fact my videos get censored a lot. I've been told that by some pretty people that are high up in technology, and so that's just the way it is. All of my videos are for me, really, to go back and look at, but I am a little concerned that they've been depressed or suppressed over the years, but it's not surprising based on the platform that we're on now and who controls it and how they're running things now. So again, thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe. Thank you to all the, I think, 600 new subscribers in the past few weeks. Thank you. And stay tuned for more videos. Please also let me know what you'd like to see in these very trying times of preparedness and hoping to keep our country from fractioning apart. Okay? Thanks for joining me. Stay ready. Anthony, signing off.